Surgeons labored to save the wooden in El Paso mass shooting. The bullets drifted through the woman, shredding her intestines and leaving holes the size of a main fist in her side. But surgeons had to go fast, clearing the operating room to make way for other victims. The woman, grievously wounded in the mass shooting at a Walmart, lay on an operating table at the University Medical Center of El Paso as a chief of surgery. Dr. Alan Tyroch turned her to clean the exit wounds. He knew what to expect, but it was still a horrific sight. He had to he had two gaping holes in the side of a man's face in her side and just the side of a silver dollar where bullets had burst from her body. Those bullets had also shredded her intestine. Dr. Tyroch hooked her up to a colostomy bag and a feeding tube, and her reached into another pouch to pull down a bullet lodged in her shinbone. It had been flattened by its violent impact into this the size of a quarter. The tragedy in El Paso Saturday, carried out by a gunman armed with an AK-47 style rifle, and another deadly massacre on Sunday in Dayton, Ohio, in which the gunman used an AR-15 style pistol modified to act as a rifle, can be measured in death tolls: 22 in El Paso and 9 in Dayton. But the damage done by such weapons is witnessed most clearly by members of medical staff who care for the wounded. The story of their life-saving labors at El Paso Hospital is the only one in a 207-mile radius prepared to treat complex trauma patients. It is one of heroics in the face of violence and of the doctors and nurses who once at the line just died out, struggled to live with the honor of what they experienced. Some patients due into the hospital needed more than one operation, like the woman treated by the Dr. Tyroch on Saturday. Surgeons had quickly opened her abdomen, cleaned out feces and blood, and sent her with a temporary plate over her open abdomen to intensive care, heavily sedated and on a ventilator. They had to go fast, clearing the operating room to make a way for other victims. Then on Sunday, Dr. Tyroch spent 3 hours operating on her, repairing the damage at the best he could. 6 days after the shooting, doctors were still trying to repair appalling wounds in some of those who survived. The suspect in the El Paso massacre is a 21-year-old man from Dallas suburbs who told the police he was targeting Mexicans. Dr. Tyroch has seen wounds from military-style weapons before, but he had never seen anything like the number of victims that showed up at his hospital on Saturday, 14 in all. Most shot more than once. The back-to-back shootings in Texas and Ohio have led to renewed calls for a ban on assault reports from some Democratic presidential candidates. On Friday, President Trump called for the passage of laws of meaningful background checks on gun buyers. Many American trauma doctors maintain that assault-style weapons do not belong in the civilians' hands, and having far more experience with gunshot wounds than their counterparts in other countries, they have grown all too familiar with the injuries that such weapons can inflict. In Texas, it seems like everyone and his brother owns a gun, said Doctor Nancy Weber, an emergency department physician at El Paso Hospital. She said she could think of no reason to own an assault rifle unless it is for military or policing purposes. Look at the trajectory. We should have a nationwide, non-partisan discussion. For Dr. Alejandro Diaz-Tovar, the ordeal began on Saturday and at 10 o'clock a.m. He had just returned home from a 30-hour shift at the hospital when he got a text from Dr. Tyroch. Active shorter, anybody alive will return to the hospital immediately. Dr. Turber, a surgeon, sped to the hospital running the red lights and pulled into the parking lot 15 minutes later. The first patient had already arrived in a police car a few minutes later, and the ambulance began roaring, bringing one mangled patient, then another and another. Members of medical staff are arriving too, for an intense rescue effort that included four general surgeons, a cardiac vascular surgeon, three orthopedic surgeons, and three surgeons in other specialties, as well as the housekeeping staff, which hurried to mop blood from floors and to clean operating rooms so patients could be warded in one after another.